Hello everyone, we are going to discuss about critical path method in project management. Suppose there is one project which has several activities and the activities are given by A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. So there are 9 activities in the project and the time required to complete each of the activities are given in the last column of this table. So the time required to complete the activity A is 2 days. Similarly, the time required to complete the activity B is 4 days, and similarly for the other activities. And also the immediate predecessors of the activities are given. As for example, the activities A and B have no immediate predecessors. That means the activities A and B do not depend on the other activities. We can start the activities A and B immediately. Next, if we consider the activity C, then we find that the activity C has one immediate predecessor, that is A. So the activity C can be started only when the activity A is completed. A is called immediate predecessor of C. In some other words, C is called immediate successor of the activity A. If we consider the activity D, then we find that the activity D has two immediate predecessors, which are A and B. So the activity D can be started only when both the activities A and B are completed. To complete the project, we have to perform all the activities. Now if we perform the activities one after another, then we find that the total time required to complete all the activities is equal to 33 days, which can be found by adding all the times. So if we perform the activities one after another, then the total time required to complete the project is 33 days, which is not the minimum, because there are some activities which can be performed simultaneously, and we have to arrange the activities in such a manner that total time required to complete the project becomes minimum. So our target is to minimize the total time required to complete the project, and we shall use the critical path method to find this. For that, we have to express this project in terms of a network. Now there are two ways to express this project in terms of a network. One is called AOA, that means activities on arcs. In this case, each arc of the network represents an activity. Another way is AON, that means activities on nodes. In this case, each node of the network represents an activity. In this problem, we shall use AON, that means activities on nodes. So next, we shall express this entire project in terms of a single network. As I have said that we shall express the project in terms of a network, and this network will be called project network. So let us start. Our first node of this network will be the start node. So we shall write start. This does not represent any activities, but it is the starting node. Next, from the table we find that the activities A and B have no immediate predecessors. So we can start both the activities A and B simultaneously from the beginning. So let this be the activity A and this be the activity B. So we can start both the activities A and B simultaneously because both the activities A and B have no immediate predecessors. Now if we connect these two nodes to start by the arcs, that means the activity A can be started from start. Similarly, the activity B can be started from start. From the table we find that the activity C has one immediate predecessor, that is A. So the activity C can be started only after completion of the activity A. So suppose this is the activity C and we connect both the activities by the arrow. Now the direction of the arrow indicates the successor of the activity A. Since the direction of the arrow is from A to C, that means C is the successor of the activity A, or A is the predecessor of the activity C. That means the activity C can be started only after completion of the activity A. Next, from the table we find that the activity D has two immediate predecessors, which are A and B. So the activity D can be started only after completion of the activities A and B both. So here we represent the activity D. Suppose this is the activity D, and since the activity D can be started only after the completion of the activity A and B both, so we connect these two nodes by this directed arc. Also we connect these two nodes by this directed arc. That means the activity D can be started only after the completions of the activities A and B both. Next we find that the activity E has two immediate predecessors, which are A and D. So if we represent the activity E by this node, then we know that the activity E has two immediate predecessors, which are A and D. That means we have to connect these two nodes by a directed arc, and also we have to connect these two nodes by this connected arc. So the activity E has two immediate predecessors, which are A and D. Next we find that the activity F has two immediate predecessors, which are C and E. So if we represent the activity F by this node, then the activity F has two immediate predecessors, which are C and E. So we connect these two nodes, and also we connect these two nodes. So the activity F has two immediate predecessors, C and E. The next activity is G, which has two immediate predecessors, B and E. So if we represent the activity G by this node G, then it has two immediate predecessors, B and E. So we connect these two nodes by this directed arc. Also we connect these two nodes by this directed arc. So the activity G has two immediate predecessors, B and E. That means the activity G can be started only if both the activities B and E are completed. The next activity is H, which has only one immediate predecessor, that is F. So we represent the activity H by this node H, which has only one immediate predecessor, that is F. So we connect these two nodes by this arc. So the activity H can be started only if the activity F is completed. And the last activity is I, which has three immediate predecessors, which are C, F and G. So we represent the activity I by this node, which has three immediate predecessors, which are C, F and G. So we connect these two nodes by this arc. We connect these two nodes by this arc, and also we connect these two nodes by this arc. So this is the last activity which has three immediate predecessors, C, F and G. So the activity I can be started only if three activities C, F, G are completed. Now once all the activities are done, then the final node will be the end or the finish node. Again, this does not represent any activity, but this is the ending node. Now here we find that there are two nodes H and I which have no successors. So we connect these two nodes to this ending node. Since these two nodes have no successors. So this is the required project network. So the given project has been expressed by this directed network, and each node of this network represents one activity. Now we shall express this project network in some compact form. Now here we have represented the project network in some compact form, where in place of every node we have considered one box having 4 blocks like this. We have considered a box having 4 blocks, and also the time required to complete the activities are also given in this node, because A2 means the time required to complete the activity A is 2 days. Similarly, the time required to complete the activity B is 4 days. Now, in each box we have considered 4 blocks which are to be filled by some specific data. We shall fill all the boxes by some data. The format of the data will be like that: ES, EF, LS, LF, where ES denotes the earliest start time of the activity, EF denotes the earliest finish time of the activity, and similarly LS denotes the latest start time of the activity, and LF denotes the latest finish time of the activity. Actually, we shall find the earliest time that an activity can be started and also the latest start time of the activity. And similarly, we shall find the earliest time that the activity can be finished and also the latest finish time of the activity. So we start with the first activity A. Now here we find that the activity A has no immediate predecessor, so we can start the activity at 0 time. So this is the earliest start time of the activity A. Now the activity A requires 2 days to be completed, so the earliest finish time of the activity A will be 2. Now we consider the activity B. Since the activity B has no immediate predecessor, so we can start the activity B at 0 time. So this is the earliest start time of the activity B. Now the activity B requires 4 days, so the earliest finish time of the activity B will be 4. Next we consider the activity C. Now the activity C has only one immediate predecessor, that is A, so the activity C can be started only if the activity A is completed. Now the earliest finish time of the activity A is 2, so this will be the earliest start time of the activity C, because it can be started only if the activity A is finished. So 2 is the earliest start time of the activity C. Now it requires 2 days, so the earliest finish time of this activity will be 2 plus 2, that is 4. We consider the next activity D. Now let us find the earliest start time of the activity D. Now here we find that the activity D can be started only if both the activities A and B are completed. Now here we find that the earliest finish times of the activities A and B are 2 days and 4 days respectively. So the activity D can be started as early as after 4 days when both the activities A and B are done. Now the activity D requires 6 days, so the earliest finish time of the activity D will be 4 plus 6, which is 10. We consider the next activity E. Here we find that the activity E can be started only if both the activities A and D are completed. Now here we find that the earliest finish times of the activities A and D are 2 and 10. So after 10 days both the activities A and D are completed. So the earliest start time of the activity E will be 10 days. Now it requires 3 days. So the earliest finish time of the activity E is 10 plus 3, which is 13. We consider the next activity F. Now activity F can be started only if both the activities C and E are completed. Here we find that the earliest finish times are 4 and 13. So the activity F can be started after 13 days. This is the earliest start time of the activity F, because after 13 days both the activities C and E are completed. Now the activity F requires 4 days. So earliest finish time of the activity F is 13 plus 4, which is 17. We consider the next activity G. Now it can be started only after the completion of the activities E and B, and here we find that after 13 days both the activities E and B are completed. So this 13 will be the earliest start time of the activity G, and the earliest finish time of G is 13 plus 4, which is 17. We consider the next activity H. Now H can be started if the activity F is completed. Now the activity F is completed after 17 days, so the earliest start time of H is 17 and it requires 5 days, so 17 plus 5, so 22. So 22 is the earliest finish time of the activity H. Now we consider the final activity I. Now this can be started if these three activities C, F and G are completed. Now if we find the earliest finish times, then we find that these are 4, 17 and 17. So the activity I can be started as early as after 17 days, and it requires 3 days, so the earliest finish time will be 17 plus 3, which is 20. So these are the required earliest start time and earliest finish time of the activities. Now this method is called the forward pass, because we have started from the starting node and we have found all the start time and earliest finish time of the activities by forward pass. Next we shall find the latest start time and latest finish time of all the activities by backward pass. That means we shall start from this node end. Before that, let us find the minimum time required to complete all the activities. Here we find that the two immediate predecessors of the end node, these are H and I, and the earliest finish time of H is after 22 days and earliest finish time of I is after 20 days. So the minimum time required to complete all the activities will be 22. So after 22 days all the activities are done. So this 22 days is the minimum time required to complete the project. Next we shall find the latest start time and the latest finish time of the activities. We consider this activity. Now the project must be finished within 22 days. So this activity must be finished within 22 days. So this 22 will be the latest finish time of the activity H. Now it takes 5 days. So the latest start time of this activity H will be 22 minus 5, which is 17. So this 17 is the latest start time of the activity H. If we consider the activity I, we find that the project must be completed within 22 days. So this activity must be completed latest by 22 days. So this is the latest finish time of the activity I. Now let us find the latest start time. Now here we find that the latest finish time is 22 days and it requires 3 days. So the latest start time will be 22 minus 3, which is 19. So the activity I must be started latest by 19 days so that we can complete all the activities within 22 days. We consider the next activity, which is F. Now here we find that both the activities H and I, these two activities can be started only if the activity F is completed. Now among these two activities we find that the activity H must be started latest by 17 days. Now activity I can be started within 19 days, but this activity H must be started latest by 17 days. So this activity F must be completed latest by 17 days. So this 17 must be the latest finish time of this activity and it requires 4 days. So the latest start time of this activity will be 17 minus 4, which is 13. We consider the next activity G. Here we find that the activity I can be started only if the activity G is completed. Now the activity I must be started within 19 days or latest by 19 days. So this activity G must be completed within 19 days such that the project must be completed within 22 days. So this 19 must be the latest finish time of the activity G, and it requires 4 days. So the latest start time of the activity G will be 19 minus 4, which is 15. We consider the next activity E. Now here we find that the activity E must be completed before we can start both the activities F and G. Here we find that the activity G must be started latest by 15 days and the activity F must be started latest by 13 days. So the activity F must be started as early as after 13 days. So the activity E must be completed latest by 13 days. So this 13 must be the latest finish time of the activity E, and it requires 3 days. So the latest start time of E will be 13 minus 3, which is 10. We consider the activity D. Here we find that the activity D has only one successor, which is E. So the activity E can be started only if the activity D is completed, and here it is given that the activity E must be started within 10 days. So this 10 must be the latest finish time of the activity D. So the activity D must be finished within 10 days such that the next activity E can be started within 10 days, and it takes 6 days to be completed. So the latest start time of D will be 10 minus 6, which is 4. Now we consider C. Now here we find that the activities F and I can be started only if the activity C is completed. So the activity C must be completed before we can start both the activities F and I. Now here we find that the I activity must be started latest by 19 days and the activity F must be started latest by 13 days, out of which 13 is minimum. So the activity C must be finished latest by 13 days. So this 13 must be the latest finish time of the activity C, and it requires 2 days. So the latest start time will be 13 minus 2, which is 11. Now we consider the activity B. Here we find that the activity B has two successors, D and G. So the activity B must be completed before we can start the activities D and G. Now here we see that the activity G must be started latest by 15 days, but the activity D must be started latest by 4 days. So we must complete the activity B latest by 4 days such that we can start the activity D on time. So the latest finish time of the activity B will be 4, and it requires 4 days. So latest start time is 4 minus 4 equal to 0. Now we consider the final activity A. Now here we find that the three activities C, E and D, these three activities can be started only if the activity A is completed. So we must complete the activity A such that we can start these three activities. Now here we find that the activity C can be started latest by 11 days, the activity E can be started latest by 10 days, but the activity D must be started within 4 days. So this 4 must be the latest start time of this activity D. Therefore the activity A must be completed latest by 4 days. So this 4 must be the latest finish time of the activity A, and it requires 2 days. So the activity A must be started latest by 4 minus 2, that is 2 days. So these are the latest start time and latest finish time of the activities, and we have computed all of this by backward pass. Next we shall find the slack time for all the activities by using this formula. Slack time equal to LS minus ES, that means latest start time minus earliest start time, or by using this formula, latest finish time minus earliest finish time. So for the activity A, the slack time is 2 minus 0, latest start time minus earliest start time, which is 2. For the activity B, it is 0. For the activity C, it is 11 minus 2, 9. For the activity D, it is 0. For the activity E it is 0. For the activity F it is 0. And for the activity G it is 15 minus 13 2. For the activity H it is 0. And for the activity I it is 2. So we have obtained the slack time for all the activities. Now let us explain all this data. Now here we have already found that the minimum time required to complete all the activities is 22 days. So this is the minimum time required to complete the project. So 22 days is the minimum time required to complete the project. Now if we consider the activities, then we find that there are some activities where slack time is 0. Now slack time means some relaxation. So there are some activities where the activities have some slack times, but most of the activities have no slack times. If we consider the activity D, then we find that the earliest start time of the activity D is 4 days and the latest start time of the activity D is 4 days. So the activity D must be started sharply at 4 days such that we can complete the project within 22 days. Similarly, we find that the activity F must be started sharply at 13 days such that we can complete the project within 22 days. But there are some activities where there are some slack times. That means there are some relaxation times. If we consider this activity C, then we find that for the activity C, the earliest start time is 2 days and the latest start time is 11 days. So the activity C can be started anywhere from 2 days to 11 days. Also, if we consider the activity I, we find that the activity I must be started between 17 days to 19 days. So if we start the activity I between 17 and 19 days, then we can finish the project within the 22 days. But there are some activities, as for example B, D, E, F, H. If we make any delay on these activities, then the total time required to complete the project must be greater than 22. So these activities are called critical activities. Actually, the activities with the 0 slack times are called critical activities. Here we find that B, D, E, F, H, these are critical activities. These activities are critical. That means the activities must be started within this time. If we make any delay on these activities, then the total time required to complete the project may not be 22. It must be greater than 22. But there are some non-critical activities where some delays may not hamper the completion time of the project. These are non-critical activities. The non-critical activities are with non-zero slack times. Next we find the critical path. The path where all the activities are critical activities is called critical path. As for example, this path start to B, to D, to E, to F, to H, to N. This path is called critical path. In a project network, there may be one or more than one critical path. In this problem, there is only one critical path, but there may be some problem where more than one critical path exists. So this path is called critical path, and each activities on this path, these are called critical activities. Now here we have expressed the earliest start time, earliest finish time, latest start time, latest finish time, and the slack times for the activities by this table. Now all these data are available in the project network. So this table is not mandatory. We have just expressed all this data by this table, and from this table we can find the critical activities. Actually, the activities with 0 slack times are called critical activities. Here we find that the activities B, D, E, F and H, these are critical activities. So we have found that the minimum time required to complete all the activities is 22 days. So this is the minimum time required to complete the project. We have found the critical activities. We have already found the critical path and also these data. So that completes the solution. So see you in the next part. Until then, thanks for watching.